Lindsay here. I just got the goats let out to do some grazing back here, weed eat a little bit. And now I'm heading on in to make some strawberry cobbler. If you saw my Easter vlog, you saw that we went to a big strawberry patch and we got 20 pounds of strawberries. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a cobbler for tonight, and I wanted to get this recipe out for you guys because it's a good one. So I got this cobbler recipe from one of my grandmother's church recipe books, and I've kind of altered it a little bit to just make it kind of perfect. But you can use any fruit, canned, fresh, whatever you want in this recipe. It was originally a peach cobbler recipe, but I've done canned apples, fresh apples, blackberries, strawberries, all that good stuff. This is the strawberry cobbler recipe, but it will show you what to do with fresh fruit instead of canned fruit. So I'll show you what ingredients we need to make this. So for this recipe, you're just gonna need 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, a tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of salt. I use Himalayan sea salt personally. I've got salted butter here. I use a little bit of cinnamon on top. If you don't like the way strawberries and cinnamon taste together, just leave that out. And here I've got some strawberries that were frozen, and I just ran them under water for a little bit to defrost them so I can cut them up. And now I'll show you how we process those. This process goes for any fresh fruit is what you'll do. If it's canned fruit, you just throw it on top in whatever sauce or liquid that it's in. So I've got probably 2 to 2.5 cups of berries here. And to that, we're just going to add probably a tablespoon of sugar and stir that up. And this will make its own juices, so we're just going to leave this to sit while we prepare everything else. That's why this is going to be the first thing you're going to want to do if you have fresh fruit, is prepare your fruit. Okay, now it is time for our pan. You're going to put the entire stick of butter in the pan. I'm going to cut this up a little bit just so it takes less time to melt. You'll put your unmelted butter in your oven to melt. While that butter is melting, we're going to prepare our dry ingredients. The recipe calls for a cup of sugar. I usually do 3/4 cup because I feel like I don't need it to be super sweet. Then we've got 1 cup of flour. Finally, a tablespoon of baking powder. Now I'm going to add in my salt. I use about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt, somewhere around there. I am using salted butter, but there's something about the salt and the sugar together that is just amazing. So I use a little bit of salt too. Now I'm just gonna measure out my cup of milk in anticipation of that butter melting. You don't want to stir in your milk until your butter's melted and you're ready to pour everything in. So we're gonna wait until our butter melts, and then I'll catch you back here. So now we're going to finish preparing our cobbler ingredients here. Remember, we've got our flour, sugar, and baking powder and a little bit of salt in here. And now it's time to add in our milk. And I have used almond milk in this recipe as well, and it works out just fine. And I've also used vegan butter, so I mean, if you have a dairy allergy, this can definitely be altered. And you don't want to over mix it, just mix till it's just come together. So we've got our hot melted butter. We're going to add on our breading mix. Okay. And now our strawberries have made a little bit of juice. So we're just gonna pour those directly on top. Just like that. I spread them around a little bit, but it's really not necessary. Everything's gonna kind of even its way out in the end, believe it or not. And now on top, I'm just going to, I got some sugar here. I'm gonna spread a little bit of sugar over the top. And I've got that cinnamon. Now we will put this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 35 minutes is what we usually do, but since my strawberries are still a little frozen, it may take longer, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Here is our finished cobbler. Now, my edges got burnt a little bit, and you can kind of see it around here where it got burnt. That's because my oven was on broil instead of bake. So, fun fact, don't do that. But usually it comes out just perfect. What I did was just put a little bit of powdered sugar on it to kind of put lipstick on the pig, but it'll still taste amazing, and actually the burnt parts are pretty good too. That's my favorite cobbler recipe. That's the one we use all the time for fresh or canned fruit, whatever we've got when we want something a little sweet. And the kids will probably have some ice cream with this. Jay doesn't eat ice cream, so it'll just be this. So we'll just pop it back in the oven to warm it up, and it'll be good to go. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, the recipe will be down in the description box. If you haven't already, go subscribe to my channel, like this video, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos in the future. We will see you in the next one. Bye.